Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ultimate Scouting Show. Thank you for joining me. Today, we have our Week 14 game picks for the NFL action this week. Let's hop right into these games. On Thursday Night Football, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the LA Rams. The Raiders are 5.5-point favorites in this game. I have them winning 24-16 in this one. I just think that the Raiders have been playing their best football this past month or so. They've been running it really efficiently with Josh Jacobs. The offense is getting going. Devontae Adams is just kind of taking over games right now. Derek Carr's playing a little bit better. And this defense, you're getting some good play out of Crosby, Trayvon Merrick as well. The Rams, on the other hand, are really in a bad spot right now. You obviously bring in Baker Mayfield. He may have to start because of an injury to John Wolford. Obviously, you're still missing some of your best players. They're just a disaster right now. So I think the Raiders win this game relatively easily. Next, we have the Bills taking on the Jets in an AFC East showdown here. Could have huge playoff implications. The Bills currently are the number 1 seed. The Jets are fighting for a wild card spot. The Bills are 9.5-point favorites in this game. I think they're going to win it, but they're not going to cover that spread. I have them winning 28-23. The Jets just play such stifling defense. They've been really efficient this year on defense. They're well coached. The front seven's awesome. The corners have been really good as well. The Bills have been pretty decent, but they just haven't looked like that dominant, explosive team that we kind of saw earlier on in the season. Josh Allen still seems like he's feeling the injury a little bit. This offense is good. They're not amazing. They're a little beat up. Obviously, you lose Von Miller as well for the season, which is a big blow. So I think it's a division game. It's a game that has a lot of playoff implications. I do think the Bills are the better team and that they win this one, but I also think that the Jets are going to keep it close and make it a game for sure. Next, we have the Vikings taking on the Lions. This is an interesting one because the Lions are actually favored in this game by 0.5 point. The Lions, are under 500 right now. The Vikings are 10-2, and this team just wins all of the close games. If you flipped the one-score games, the Vikings would be 1-11 this year, which just proves how ridiculously close they've played all of these teams. They're also 10-2 and only have a point differential of +10. That's nuts. I do think the Vikings win this game, though, 27-23. I do think it's close, but, the Vikings are just one of those teams that they're very talented. They have Kirk Cousins, they have Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. Their defense is decent, but I don't think that they're one of the absolute best teams in the NFL. Even though their record may indicate that they are a top 3 team, I don't necessarily think they're quite there. I do think they are better than the Lions right now, even though they are hot. So I think the Vikings do win this one. Next, we have the Eagles taking on the Giants, another game that has huge playoff implications. The Eagles are 7.5-point favorites in this one. I do think they win 28-17. The Eagles have been absolutely rolling the past couple of weeks. They get the run game going. A.J. Brown was absolutely dominant versus the Titans. Devontae Smith was open the entire game in that. Jalen Hurts can beat you with his leg, his arm. They just can win in so many different ways, and that defense has been really good as well. The Giants seem to be taking a little bit of a step back to reality from that really awesome hot start to the season. I just think that they're kind of proving they're maybe not that amazingly talented team. And I do think the Eagles are significantly more talented and they win this game. Next, we have the Cowboys taking on the Texans in the Battle of Texas here. The Texans are 17.5-point underdogs in this game. That is, I believe, the biggest number I've seen the entire season, and I get why. The Cowboys absolutely dominated the Colts the last time we saw them. The Texans got blown out by the Browns team that basically didn't even have a quarterback playing based on how bad Deshaun Watson was. So I understand why the line is this big. I just think it's a little bit too big for me. The Texans are going back to Davis Mills. So I think the score in this one's going to be 31-17. I think the Cowboys win this easily. I don't think it's much of a contest, but maybe the Texans get a consolation score that kind of brings it in within that spread. It's just 17.5 is so big for an NFL game. I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win that one, but the Texans to cover that spread. Next up, we have the Bengals taking on the Browns. This has been a very tough matchup for the Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals. He has never beaten the Cleveland Browns. He's 0-4 right now in his career against them. I do think that they win this one 23-18. The Bengals are playing some of their best football right now. Joe Burrow looks insanely efficient. You're getting Joe Mixon back. That running game has been really good since that last game versus the Browns. they have been second in EPA per play running the football. So they've definitely kind of figured that out. The offensive line has been significantly better. You get Jamar Chase back, but defense is kind of gelling. You got DJ Reader back as well. So I think that the Bengals are kind of gelling at the right time. The Browns, last time we saw them, Deshaun Watson looked really terrible. Obviously, he's going to knock some rust off, and it's going to take some time, but he looked really bad. So I think that this is going to be an interesting game. I do think that the Bengals win this one, but I do think that the Browns may cover. 6.5 is just a little bit much for a division game that the Browns have kind of had the Bengals number. I do think the Bengals finally get over that hump, but it's going to be a close one, 23-18. Next up, we have the Titans taking on the Jaguars. One of the big news pieces of this week was that the Titans fired their GM. It looks like Mike Vrabel is going to take a larger role within the organization, which I do like because I think Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I ranked NFL head coaches. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. I will leave the link in the description below. But I just think that the Titans are a very well-run team under Mike Vrabel. This isn't necessarily the most talented team that he has had. I think that they lack a lot of explosiveness on offense. Treylon Burks kind of gave you that, but he's out with a concussion after taking a nasty shot in the last game. I think that, obviously you are going to play really tough when you play the Titans. I think that, their defense is really, really good. It's not fun to move the football against them. They've got an underrated front seven, and they're just so tough to play against. Offensively, they're going to run the ball down your throats. Ryan Tannehill is going to use play action to take advantage of opportunities when he can. And I think it's a well-run team for the talent level. The Jaguars, on the other hand, are kind of one of those up-and-coming young teams that are just trying to figure out how to win games, how to, build around their franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. I'm glad he is going to be okay after a really nasty kind of knee injury that's looked like a torn ACL live, but I'm glad it was not for Trevor Lawrence. So this is going to be an interesting game. I do think that the Titans win this one 24-20, just covering that 3.5 point spread. I just think that they are a little bit more consistent right now. They have a little bit more to play for, and they're got the better coach as well with Vrabel over Doug Peterson, who I do think is a good coach as well. Moving on, we've got another AFC North matchup here. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers are 2.5 point favorites in this game because it looks like Lamar Jackson is not going to play in this contest. The Steelers have actually looked pretty decent since getting TJ Watt back. That defense has just been a completely different unit with him in there. And then offensively, Kenny Pickett is looking decent. He's not asked to do a whole lot, but I do think when he is, he's making some plays. And that's good to see for the Steelers, able to build around their young rookie quarterback. The Ravens, on the other hand, their defense has been absolutely awesome the past couple of weeks. Mike McDonald has done a really good job getting that unit kind of up to a really high level, and they've been a great unit so far this season. The offense has really kind of been the issue in recent weeks. Lamar Jackson has kind of been asked to do the majority of things by himself, and Huntley, I like him. Is he going to be able to come in and elevate this team like Lamar Jackson was doing? I doubt it. This is a tough contest because I think the Ravens have more to play for right now. I think the Ravens have a better defense, a better roster right now, but I am going to pick them in this game, 22-16. I think the Steelers put up a fight. They're definitely going to make this contest. I think it ends up being a one-score game, and they might win it. I mean, if Huntley is not able to score a lot of points, I think this could be a really ugly defensive contest. I am going to go with the Ravens, though. I just trust them in this moment more than I trust the Steelers right now. I think the Ravens' defense is really good, and you can get some offense out of Huntley and the running game, hopefully. I'm going to pick the Ravens and pick them against the spread as well. Next, we have the Chiefs taking on the Broncos. This is an 8.5 point spread here for the Chiefs. I am going to pick them 34-20 in this game. The Chiefs, coming off of a loss to the Bengals, are going to be very motivated to get back on the right track. They're right in the thick of it for the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Broncos season pretty much seems like it is done. It is over. Nobody has any faith in this coaching staff and Russell Wilson. Pretty much everything that can possibly go wrong for the Broncos has gone wrong for the Broncos this season. So I do think it's not going to be a very close game. Maybe the Broncos can kind of get in there and backdoor cover if their defense plays really well in this game, which they have been a good unit under Ezra Evero. But I think the Chiefs just kind of take off with this one. They win it big, 34-20 in this one. Next, we have the Seahawks taking on the Panthers. I have the Seahawks winning this game 26-14 and covering that 3.5-point spread. The last time we saw the Panthers, Sam Darnold actually looked pretty good. They made the move to Darnold. The defense played really, really well in that game as well. So it is going to be interesting to see which version of the Panthers we get, because we have seen many different ones. They cut Baker Mayfield. It is like Sam Darnold's team right now. And I think they're going to ride that train probably until the end of the season, because he has shown a little bit of promise. Maybe you can get, a backup quality quarterback out of Sam Darnold. The Seahawks, on the other hand, their defense hasn't been very good in recent weeks, but Geno Smith and this offense are still absolutely rolling. I think that the Seahawks win this game. I think that they limit the amount of chances that Sam Darnold gets with the ball, because, the Seahawks have been really good at running the football. Geno Smith doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's been very efficient. And I think that they win this one and kind of continue that path towards the playoffs in Seattle. Next, we have the 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a very interesting game, mostly because Jimmy Garoppolo goes down with an injury. Brock Purdy is going to be starting this game for the San Francisco 49ers, and he probably is going to be starting for the foreseeable future. There's reports Jimmy G may not need, season-ending surgery. He may be able to come back for the playoffs if they make a deep enough run in there. But I think Purdy is interesting. At college, he was absolutely terrible at Iowa State. I had watched enough of, his wide receivers, his weapons, things like that, to know I did not like Brock Purdy coming out. But in a Kyle Shanahan offense where he can just kind of be asked to do what Shanahan draws up, I think he can be efficient. And then the 49ers defense is one of the best units in the NFL. I think that they win this game 30-24. I think that this defense, holds up relatively well. The offense actually kind of gets going. They score some points because they've got so many, weapons in Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. There's so many weapons on that offense. I think Purdy is able to take advantage and win this game for the San Francisco 49ers. Next, we have the Dolphins versus the Chargers. This is going to be a huge matchup for the AFC playoff picture. I think that the Dolphins win this game 31-27. Dolphins probably had one of their worst performances of the season against the 49ers last week. They did a good job bottling up this really explosive Dolphins offense, and Tua did not have a very good game. The Chargers are fighting for their playoff lives now. They are playing, a lot of tough teams down the stretch, and they've definitely got to win some of these games, like against Miami, to really be in that playoff picture. I think that the Dolphins are the better team here. I think they're the better coach team here. I'm not really a fan at all of Brandon Staley. I don't like what he has done with this team. So I do think that the Dolphins are going to be the team that wins this game. They've just been so explosive offensively, and, that's not the case with the Chargers. They don't throw the ball down the field with Justin Herbert. It doesn't make any sense, but I do think that the Dolphins win this one. And then on Monday Night Football, we have the Patriots taking on the Cardinals. This is an interesting one. Looks like we've got mostly a fully healthy Cardinals, offense with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. You got Hollywood Brown back in the mix as well. The Patriots have been a decent team, but they're, fighting for their playoff lives as well. I actually think the Cardinals get the upset in this one, 24-20. I think that the Cardinals have a lot of explosiveness with that offense. Obviously, Murray, Hopkins, and Hollywood Brown, as I mentioned, they're a really solid offense there and can make a lot happen. The Patriots, I've just been very unimpressed with at points throughout this season. Obviously, their defense is always going to be good under Bill Belichick, but I just don't think that their offense has taken a necessary step forward under Mac Jones this year. They haven't surrounded him with a lot of good weapons, and I just think that they're not a very good offense right now. And that's going to hurt them in this game. That I think the Cardinals do have a good offense, and they can push the ball, they can score points, and I think they ultimately get the upset here and win this game. So thank you so much for watching my Week 14 game picks. If you like this video, go ahead, please give it a thumbs up down below. While you're down there, also hit that subscribe button as well. Trying to get to 200 subscribers by the end of the year. So tell your friends about it. Subscribe yourself. That would help me out so much. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye.